and the materials and equipments were not part of it. But now, at the 6th edition, it talks about both physical resources and team resources, which is the human resources. So now, the project resource management is encompassing both your physical resources, which has to do with the materials that you're going to use for the project, the equipments and facilities and infrastructure you're going to use for the project, and your project team, which is the individuals, the staffs that are going to use to implement that project. So that's what project resource management is all about. You are going to make use of those resources to achieve your success, your project successfully. And so now project resource management ensures that the project is being executed in accordance with the scope and overview that was defined. Now you remember that we had project scope management, where you lined up all your scope, all the things that needed to be in place for the project to take on. And so that scope now is very important, because you are going to rely on that scope, and that scope is going to determine the resources that you're going to acquire, you're going to identify, you're going to acquire, and you're going to use to implement this project. All right. So it also ensures the right resources are in the right place for the right people at the right time. You understand? Because you need the right people to work with you to achieve success in your project. So you also need the right resources. If you buy substandard products, substandard materials, of course, the project will not be a successful one. You will have hitches along the way, and sometimes along that you may have collapse if it's a construction project. All right. Now, project resource management processes. Now, the processes that are involved in project resource management. Now, they include step-by-step plan resource management. That's the first step you take. You're going to plan the resources, plan resource management. Then you're going to estimate the activity resources. You're going to acquire the team now that will help you to carry out this project, to ensure that this project is successful. You're going to develop that team. You're going to manage that team, and you're going to control the resources to ensure that every resources are utilized effectively, and there will be no waste along the line. So now, when we say planned resource management, we mean the process of defining how to estimate and acquire and manage and utilize those physical and team resources. I take it again. It means you are trying to define how to estimate, to acquire, manage, and utilize those physical and team resources. Now, I said those physical resources are the materials, the equipment you're going to use, and every other material you're going to use for the project. And of course, the team you're going to use. You're going to have a project team to ensure that the project is a success, because you can't do the project on your own. You need a team of professionals to ensure that this project is a success. Now, talking about estimate activity resources is a process of estimating the team resources and the type and quantity of materials, equipment, supplies necessary for performing the project work. Now, you know that you have a project, you have your scope. From your scope, you have identified each and every task that's going to be carried out in the project. Now, you also know, okay, this is the number of team I need. This is the number of staff I need to actualize this project. This is the number of materials I need to actualize this project. So that's what we mean by estimating the activity resources. Now you're trying to estimate, okay, what are the quantity of materials I need to actualize this project, so that I don't buy too much materials and end up as a waste? And what are the number of staffs or project team, each individual I need for project team to actualize this project, so that I don't employ too much hands, too much labor on this project. So that's what we mean by estimating the activity resources. Now, when we talk about acquiring the resources, now you are going to acquire the resources. You are going to acquire the team. That's, you are going to employ the hands needed. You are going to get the team. Then you're going to acquire the materials needed. You are now going to the market to get the materials, all the resources needed to complete that project. So that's what we mean by acquiring the team. Now we'll talk about developing the team. Now you know that you are bringing people from different walks of life to participate in this project and to make this project a success. And you have people with different mindset, different way of thinking. So you have to develop that team. You have to harness them for them to be able to work together as a team to ensure that the project is a success. Then again, you have to manage the team. You know, along the line, you will have disagreements, you have conflict within the team. You have to be able to manage that team to ensure that all those conflicts are resolved and everybody is working together for a common goal to achieve that project. And of course, you're going to control the resources so that there will be no waste in the project. So now, now your project team, we're going to be looking at some terms, some key terms that will come across along the line. Now, project team or project staff consists of individuals with assigned roles and responsibilities for completing the project. Of course, each and every of your team member are going to be assigned with specific roles and responsibilities that fit into their expertise so that they can perform the project and carry out the project successfully. Then, of course, the project manager should invest suitable effort in acquiring, managing, motivating, and empowering the project team. Now, it's not just enough to get the team, you employ the team, and at the end of the day, you're not able to manage them, you're not able to motivate them, you're not able to empower them, you're not able to give them the resources to carry out the project. You need to do all these things so that you can have a successful ride during the project. So now, the involvement of all team members in the project planning and decision making is beneficial because they add their expertise to the process and strengthen the commitment to the process. You know, you need your team because in the planning process, your team members are going to give you ideas based on their expertise, based on the area of expertise, their area of knowledge on that project. They're going to give you those ideas which will help in your planning and in your decision making. And that is why you need that team. All right. So looking at more terms, we say project managers should be aware of different aspects that influence the team, such as, of course, the team environment, giving them a conducive environment to work with, the geographical locations of your team members. You may have team members in different locations. That's if you have projects in different locations. So you may have team members in different locations. You have to also consider them too. You have to consider communications among stakeholders. You must always consider those communications among stakeholders because communicating stakeholders is important because if you don't communicate with them, they may say, oh, this project is not in line with our interest. So you have to communicate with them so that you are sure that this project is following the scope and also in line with the stakeholders' interest. So you also have to consider the organizational change management as internally, organizational change management, the internal and external politics. We have talked on this on the previous lectures, cultural issues, organizational uniqueness, and other factors that may alter your project performance. All those considerations, you have to put them to heart. Now, we are going to come across some terms here. I just want us to know those terms so that when we get there, we don't get confused. Now, we talk about lean manufacturing. Just has to do with removal of waste of time, effort, and resources. Now, this lean manufacturing is employed by Toyota company. They do it in order to avoid waste so that when they produce based on demand. So when you request, they produce instead of producing and keeping it and it becomes a waste and the demand for it is not there. So the lean is just to minimize demand, to remove to minimize waste, to minimize waste, waste of time, effort, and resources. Now we talk about theory of constraint. It's about identifying, removing constraints that limit your project output with primary goal of increasing manufacturing capacity. We talk about just in time. Just in time is another process, a production strategy that strives to improve the business return on investment by reducing the process inventory and associated carrying costs. Then we would also talk about total productive maintenance, the method of maintaining, improving the integrity of production, quality of systems through the machine and equipment, employee and supporting process. Now, this total production maintenance is you are giving attention to maintenance of your equipment, because if you don't give attention to maintenance of equipment and those equipment get bad along the line when you are carrying out the project, getting those equipment, to hire those equipment will cost you more, and again your schedule will be affected together with it. So you have to give consideration to that also. Then, of course, Kaizen, which means Japanese, is a Japanese saying. It means continuous improvement. Then, expectancy theory, employees who expect to be rewarded, employees who expect to be rewarded for their accomplishment will remain productive as rewards meet their expectation. As long as you reward your employees, they will always try as much as possible to accomplish their tasks. Then, of course, we know about fringe benefits, of course. So now we are going into trends and emerging practices. Now, trends and emerging practices for project resource management include, but not limited to, resource management methods. And some of those methods is what we just defined now in the key terms. It said due to scarce nature of critical resources in some industries, several trends have become popular in the past years. Now, there are extensive literature about lean management, just-in-time manufacturing, Kaizen, total productive maintenance, theory of constraint, and other methods. And those are just the methods we just looked at right now. I believe you have understanding of them. So you have to consider those methods also, whichever one that fits into your project. Then, of course, we have to consider emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is also a very important aspect. Now, I believe most of us are in emotional intelligence class know what emotional intelligence is. And if we don't know what emotional intelligence is just knowing and managing your emotions and understanding the emotions of others for improved performance. Now, of course, everybody has emotions. You can't rule that out. Everybody has emotions. So you have to understand your emotion. You have to understand the emotion of others, and you have to work with those emotions to ensure that they give you the required performance in the project. Now, the project manager should invest in personal emotional intelligence by improving inbound. That's within yourself now. Improving your self-management skills, improving getting conscious of your self-awareness, being self-aware. And when we say self-awareness means the experience of your personality, your individuality, who you are. You understand? How you are able to monitor your stress level, your thoughts, your emotions, and your belief. Mind you, you're going to have some stuff that will give you stress. So you have to be able to control yourself as a project manager. You have to be able to control your emotions as a project manager. If not, a staff can annoy you. And what he's to do is not doing it, and you get annoyed. So you need emotional intelligence. Then of course you have to understand the emotional intelligence of your staff. You have different staff, the way your staffs behave. You have to understand that. Now, if you're able to understand it and work with them effectively, of course, you will reduce the staff turnover, because you will have some staffs that if they are some staffs that can't take pressure, they can't take stress. If you give them too much stress, they will resign. They are not going to do the project again. You understand? So it will reduce staff turnover. It will reduce staff that say, okay. You hear some staff say, I have a good boss. My God, because of my boss, I stay. He's a good. You understand? It's just this, the boss has knowledge of emotional intelligence and is able to channel that understanding to be able to. Again, we have self-organizing teams. Now, these teams function in absence of centralized control. These teams are especially a team of professionals, specialists that have knowledge on the project. The increase in use of agile approach, mainly for executing of IT projects. Most of the time you find it in IT projects where you have professionals coming together and they don't need much supervision, and they can, sort out the plans and all that before they come to the main team. So now we're also going to consider virtual teams and distributed teams. Now, virtual teams, distributed teams, when you have teams in different geographical locations, and when you have projects in different geographical locations, of course, you're going to have teams in different geographical locations. So you're going to be able to manage them. You have to manage them with the resources you have. Thank God for technology. You can use technology like the Zoom now that we're in. You can be in your house now, taking lecture. You can be in your house now, you're having meetings. And of course, you must have seen where even most government meetings now are done using these social media platforms to achieve them. So now that's talking about trends and emerging practices. Now we're going to be tailoring considerations. Now, of course, the considerations, we are going to consider diversity. You're going to have different staffs from different walks of life, that have different ideology. Now you're going to be bringing those staff together to work together. And of course, bringing people from different walks of life, different ideologies, the way they think, the way they associate with people. You have to be able to bring them and harness them to cohabit, to work together, to as a team to achieve their goal. And of course, you're going to consider, of course, physical locations where you have different geographical locations. Now you are considering what is the physical location of your team members, the physical resources. Where can I get those resources? Are they available where I am, or I have to go travel to get them? I have to go here and there to get them. You're going to be considering the industry-specific resources. What special resources are needed in the industry? What are those special resources you need to acquire? You're going to be talking about acquisition of team members, of course. The team members are going to work together to achieve that project. How will the team members be acquired? How are you going to employ them? Are the team resources full-time or part-time? Are you employing them for full-time or part-time, or just immediately after the project they are done? Are they going to be on a contract basis or on a full-time basis? Now, you're going to considering the management of the team, of course. How is the team development managed for the project? How are you going to manage them to ensure that they carry out the tasks according to the scope? Are there organizational tools to manage those teams? Those tools, they need to manage them. And do they have the tools? Do they have the conducive environment to manage those teams? And of course, we're going to consider the life cycle approaches, the various life cycle approaches we have talked in previous lectures. So that's it. So we're going to be considerations of adaptive environment. Of course, we just talked about self-organizing team collaboration. Of course, collaboration is very, very important. You may have teams working in different departments, different sections. So you need collaboration, because the whole team has to collaborate for the entire project to be successful. Collaboration, it will boost productivity and facilitate innovation in solving problems. It will facilitate innovation in solving problems, very important. So you need the collaboration. Of course, planning for physical and human resources is less predictable in projects with high variability. Now, of course, you have to plan for those projects, the human and the physical resources. And in this environment, agreement for fast supply, lean methods are critical. So planning, very important. You have to consider that. And of course, sometimes you may have rolling wave effect. Rolling wave planning will come to play. Of course, you have to adapt and ensure that you're able to update your project plan. So now, project plan resource management. Project resource management. Now we're going to be looking at the overview of it. We're going to be looking at the data flow, the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. And you remember that in all the project areas, the output of the previous knowledge area is always the input of the next project resource management, the next knowledge area, sorry. So what is a planned resource? To plan the resource management, what does it mean? It's the process of defining how to estimate, acquire, manage, and use team and physical resources. Now you are able to estimate, you are able to acquire the team, the resources, you're able to manage the resources, you're able to manage the team to actualize your project. Now, the key benefit of this is it establishes the approach and level of management effort needed for managing the project resources. Now, this process is performed once or at predefined points in the project. Now, resource planning is used to determine and identify an approach to ensure that sufficient resources are available for the successful completion of the project. So that's what we mean by resource planning. You are able to plan your resources, you're able to get enough resources to ensure that those resources, those physical resources, those materials, the equipment needed to carry out this project are available, and you have the required team, adequate team to carry out those projects, ensure that this project is successful. All right. Moving on, now we look at the data flow. Of course, we know about project charter. We're going to consider it when we are, doing the plan resource management. We're going to consider the project charter, the project management plan, quality management plan, scope, baseline, project documents, and what have you. And of course, your project management plan provides useful information as to how the work will be executed to accomplish your project objectives. So is your project management plan, just you will consider it so that you know how the work is going to be executed to carry out your objectives. And we are going to be focusing more on the tools and techniques. Of course, we know about expert judgment, data representation, hierarchical charts, responsibility assignment matrix, and text-oriented formats. Now, for the data um, hierarchy, now data hierarchy, hierarchical type organizational chart. It's just like an organizational chart, just as when we considered work breakdown structure. Now it's just in that format. But now what changes there now? In that you are not defining the activities now. You are now defining the resources. Do you understand? So now you are defining those resources now. That's what you're now going to be putting on those boxes. Those boxes you see there. Of course, you have a project manager will be first. You have some project managers in between. You have some other staffs in between. And we're going to be looking on that also. Of course, we'll consider responsibility chart matrix also. Now, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about hierarchical organizational chart. Of course, now you see that the project manager is at the top. You have the deputy project manager. You have system engineer. You have independent test. That's we are considering an IT project right now. So you have independent test group. You have project technical lead manager. You have quantity assurance manager. You have configuration management manager. You can now see how it's being spread up down to each team member. You see how it goes now. So you see that it's just like you consider your work breakdown structure now. You are considering your resource breakdown structure right now, organizational breakdown structure right now. That's what you're considering. So you put each and every of those resources in there. So, and again, the responsibility matrix now. Now, what it means, responsibility matrix means it shows you the project resources assigned to each work package. Now, you are assigning each person to each work package because you must be able to hold some set of people responsible for some certain tasks. You understand? So now, if you look at the table, you see some persons there. You see Anne, Ben, Carlos, Dina, Eddie, of course. Then on the activity column, you're going to see define, design. That's define, design. You can put the tasks there. Then you're going to say, okay, A now under A and under Anne, you have A, which is accountable. That means Anne is accountable for that tax. You understand? Anne is accountable for that tax. Now, under design and on Anne, you're going to see I, which is information. If you need more information on that particular tax, meet Anne. Anne will be able to give you that information. You understand? Now, if you go to Ben, Ben is responsible for the defining of that tax. He's responsible for defining of that tax. That's why you see R on his column there, and so on and so on and so forth. So you see how what it does is going to be you're going to be able to assign your project resources to each work package. You understand? So most of the time you have this in very large projects because you have to know who is responsible for this, who is responsible for that. Where you have large number of team members working together, you have to be able to assign them. So that's what we mean by responsibility assignment matrix. Then, of course, we are going to be considering some theories later on in the course, and these theories, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because you know that everybody has needs, even all your staffs, the people you're going to be working with, human resource, they have needs. They have physiological needs, they have safety needs, they have social needs, they have estimate needs, they have self-actualization needs. So we're going to be talking about all those needs because you have to consider those needs when you're working with them. You have some people who just come, sir, I don't have money, I need this. Because of one need or the other, they have excuse not to perform in their project. So you have to consider all those needs also. Of course, we're going to be also looking at the X theory, Y theory, and Z theory, how you have some set of staffs, how they behave, the X theory and the Y theory and the Z theory. We're going to be considering that in some lectures in further lectures. I mean. So now when we talk about the output now, the output for your plan resource management, what we are aiming at in this plan resource management, we need the team charter. Now the team charter is to establish the team values, agreements, and operating guidelines for the team. Now you have gathered those resources together. Now you are trying to have and establish rules and regulations, team values, team agreement, guidelines. Okay, this is how this team is going to operate. You're going to have team values, the communication guidelines. This is how we're going to communicate. You're going to have decision-making criteria and processes based on so and so. This is how we're going to make our decisions. You understand? So we're going to also have conflict resolution processes, because whether you like it or not, there may be instances where you have conflict where you have conflict among team members. So you must be able to have some guidelines to solve those issues amicably and ensure that the project is still on the go. So you're going to have meeting guidelines also and team agreements. So that's the essence of that. So now we're moving to the next, which is the estimate activity resources. Of course, estimate activity resources is the process of estimating the team resources and type and quantity of materials, equipment, supplies necessary to perform the project work. Now you are estimating the resources that you need. You understand? You're estimating those resources, the type of resources you need, ensure that you get the right resources to perform that project. Now, of course, the key benefit is that you determine the type, the quantity, and the characteristics of those resources required to carry out that project. Ensure that you get the best equipment, you get the best tools needed for that project, the best materials. You don't get substandard materials that will make a project collapse if you are dealing with a construction project, especially. Now, of course, you have your inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs. Of course, project management plan, resource management plan, scope guidelines, project documents, enterprise. Then tools and techniques, you have expert judgment, bottom-up estimate, analog estimate, and all that. We spoke about most of this in previous lectures, and that's why it's important you have knowledge on this. When you're talking about an analogous estimate, it's just simply you are using the actual cost of previous resources and that you have used for the project as a basis to estimate your current cost for the resources. And of course, when you're talking about parametric estimating, you're talking about the basis of activity duration and all that. So we talked about all this in previous lectures. We visit those courses. Please try as much as possible. We know that all these lectures are recorded on YouTube. Please ensure that we can get those lectures on YouTube and still go over them. And please also those who you want to join this course, you can also ask them to join through the YouTube platform, which is IIPM International, youtube.com/IIPM International. All right, that's by the way. Now, of course, estimate activity resources, the process of estimating the team resources, along with the type and quantities of materials you need, of course, the equipment and the supplies you need to get to perform the project. And sometimes closely tied with the cost, because of course you have to know the cost of these materials, cost of getting employing your team. Of course, you have to consider that also. So it's somehow tied to cost management also. So estimate activity resources. On the output, you have resource breakdown structure. Of course, you have a hierarchy representing the resource by category and by type. And in this process, it is complete. It is a completed document, of course, that will be used to acquire and monitor those resources. So now we are now going ahead now to acquire those resources. We have considered the resources we need. We have considered the human resource we need. We have considered the materials we need. Now we are going ahead now, going to the market to get those materials. So acquiring resources is the process of obtaining the team members, the facility, equipment, the materials, supplies, and other resources needed to complete the project. Very simple. So of course you have your inputs, tools and techniques, and the outputs. Of course, tools and techniques, of course, based on what you have, you're going to make decision making. You're going to have decision-making criteria. You have to use your interpersonal and team skills. Especially when you are employing a team member, you have to use those skills to employ. You don't just employ any Dick and Harry into your project. You employ, professionals, and of course you have some set of people, craftsmen and all that. So you have to apply your interpersonal and team skills You also have to consider your decision-making skills also. Now, the key benefit of this acquiring resources is that it outlines and guides the selection of resources, just as I've already said, the type of team member you're going to get, the resources you're going to get, assigning them to their respective activities. Now, staffing plans and good hiring procedures are important as they are incentives for recruiting and retention. Now, I have a question for each and one of us. Why do people leave their jobs? Why do people leave their jobs? I just need few answers from the chat group. Please give me some answers. Why do you think people leave their jobs? There are some people along the line, you're working with them in the project. After some time, they come and meet you and pray, please, I cannot work here again. I can't work again. I want to go. And they have a task to carry out. You understand? And them leaving that project at that point in time will affect the project, will affect the schedule of the project, you know. So why do people leave their jobs? Yes, somebody said lack of motivation. Somebody said lack of satisfaction on the job. I need more answers, please. I need more answers, please. Quickly, quickly. I'll try as much as possible. Okay, good offer. Okay, they have a better offer. Is it? Someone said if they are not satisfied with the condition of service. Yeah. Okay. Any other answer? Somebody said poor management. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Any other answer? Now, workplace politics. This workplace politics now is now becoming a norm in almost every workplace. Lack of job security and bad leadership skills. All right, all right, all right, all right. We are all giving. Somebody said errand boss. Errand boss. All right. All right. Well, we are all giving good answers, no doubt about it. Good answers. Now, let me add some of my own suggestions. Also, you have some people who feel that they are not making a difference in the project. Why am I working here? I'm not really making any difference. My input is not really, it's not really appreciated. So, if you're okay, let me leave. You have some people, of course, that will get that because you don't recognize them. People love recognition. Some people love it, tell them well done. You are doing well. Those kind of compliments. And if they don't feel, if they don't get those things, you have those set of people that operate in that area, don't get those things. I'm not appreciated here, let me go. You have some people who be like, they feel they are not learning anything in the project, they are not growing in the project. So what am I? I'm not even learning anything. I'm just wasting my time here. I feel they'll just leave. Then you have some people that will be like, they don't like their co-workers. They don't like the people they are working with. Just maybe if you don't like this person, they'll say, I can't work here. You have some people that, okay, please change me to another department. I don't like this department. Why? Just because you don't like somebody in that department, you want to leave. So you have those set of people, of course. Then you have some people, of course, who will leave because they have a better offer outside. They want to make more money. This project is not giving them the required money they thought they to give them. So that's why they move on. So those are just some of the additions, some of the reasons. All our suggestions, our answers are correct. All right. All right, now let's move on. Of course, we talked about tools and techniques, multi-criteria decision analysis. Of course, when you are getting a team member, you're employing a team member, you have to consider the ability of that team member. Is he going to be able to carry out that project? You have to consider that. You have to consider the cost, experience. Are you going to be able to pay that team member you're going to employ? Then you talk about the knowledge. Does he have the required knowledge, the required skill, the right attitude, on the job? And of course, you may have some other international factors. So that's what we mean by multi-criteria decision analysis. And you have to consider pre-assignments. Now, pre-assignment is when you have a specialist within your organization, you want to carry out a project. So first of all, you give that specialist a task. First of all, you may give him, ahead of the, as inaugurating the project team, you may say, okay, that specialist in your organization, he has an idea on this project. Okay, go and, carry out some feasibility study about this project. Go and prepare a project charter about this project because you have that specialist within your organization. So that's what we mean by pre-assignment. Then when we talk about negotiation, of course, very important, you must be able to negotiate with the functional managers. Very important. Because if you're not able to negotiate with them, you have issues with the functional managers. They will ensure that you don't actualize the project at your required schedule. At the required time, you need to carry out to complete that project. So you have to employ your negotiating skills. And of course, other project managers require, of course, you have other project managers sub project managers under you who are, as you understand, you have to be able to negotiate project. Now, acquisition, when we talk about acquisition, of course, you are hiring the resources you need.
Hello, sorry everyone. It's like Miss Engineer Thompson's network is having an issue, but I'm sure he will reconnect immediately. Please, let's kindly bear with him. Engineer Thompson, please, if you can hear me, your network is, or your screen is no longer showing.
Hello, sorry, are we together?
Yes, we have been together except you.
Okay, sorry. I'm back now, sorry, please. Please, can you see my screen?
We only seen Abraham Thompson.
Okay, let me try and share. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay. Sorry about that break, please. All right. Okay. So now, now, of course, we talked about acquisition. Of course, you are acquiring the team you need for that project. Then, of course, considering virtual teams working in different geographical locations. Of course, you have to consider them also. You have to you may do a recruitment in those locations also, because it may cost you more getting teams from your location to that particular location. So why don't you just employ from that location and employ the professionals from that location and work with them? So so now at the output now, hello, somebody is saying something.
Okay. Oh, please go ahead.
Okay. So now at the output now, we're going to have the project team assignments, of course. At the output, when you have acquired those resources, you're going to assign them to your various project activities. You have to assign them to those activities. Then, of course, you're going to have the resource calendar, of course, the document that shows you the time period for each team member, the time period that the team member can work. Now, the resource calendar, you have the time, is the person going to work from Monday to Friday, or it's going to work from Monday to Sunday, it's going to work during the public holiday, or it's not going to work during the public holiday. What time is it going to work? Is it going to work from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. or is it going to work from 8 to 2 p.m. each day? So that's what you're going to, assign all those criteria to each team member to know that, okay, this is the time and time you're going to do those things. So now, then considering, we're going to also, at the output, you're going to consider the project management plan updates, because you're going to be updating your plans, of course. The elements of the project management plan that may be updated include, but not limited to, the human resource. Of course, you're updating your criteria. These human resources, you didn't have them before. So now you have them, you're going to update them to your plan also, to your resource plan also. So now you have gotten the team you need for this project. You have acquired them. You need to develop them. Because if you don't develop them, you don't develop their competencies, you won't be able to actualize the project to the required professional specification. You understand? So the process of improving, now in developing the process of improving competencies, team members' interaction, and the overall team environment to enhance the project performance. The key benefit of this process is that it results in improved teamwork and enhanced interpersonal skills and competencies, motivated employees, reduced attrition, and improved overall project performance. Now you have to develop this team. If you're not able to develop their competencies, you're not able to develop their skills, you're not able to develop you're not able to give them the right working environment to work with, you will not be able to get the performance you require from them. So you have to consider those things. Then, of course, as usual, you have the inputs, output, the tools and techniques and the outputs. Of course, you have all those things we have talked about in the previous topics. So on the tools and techniques, we're going to be looking at virtual teams. We're going to be looking at co-location, some of all those terms. We're going to be looking at them. Now, why? Sorry, my screen is running. So why do we need to develop this team? Of course, we have said, you need to develop this team because they will help you so that they can understand themselves and they can work better as a team. You are in the process of building a team. So you're going to ensure that they work together harmoniously to achieve this project. Then
Hello, sir. We are not hearing you again.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, please.
Oh, all right. So now in developing this team, now one of the models used to describe team development is the Thompson ladder, which involves 5 stages of development that teams may go through. Now, these 5 stages of development that teams may go through are these. You have forming, which is the first stage, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Now, I'll explain what it means. Now, the forming now is the process where your team members meet and learn. This is the time they meet and learn about the project. You understand? And of course, they also learn about their former roles and responsibilities in the project. So they are actually coming together to meet, to learn, and to know their actual roles and responsibilities about the project. Now, most of these team members at first, they may work independently, but at least they are getting to know what the project entails. You understand? So now when we talk about storming means that the team members will begin to address the project work, the technical decisions, and the project management approaches. Now they start to consider all those approaches that they will know that they're going to use to achieve the project. So that's what we mean by storming. They're going to be thinking, they're going to be, brainstorming on technical decisions to make, to achieve that project. They're going to adjust their habits to ensure to the schedule of that project, of course, to ensure that they achieve that project in due time. Then And when we talk about norming now, the team members now begin to work together and they begin to adjust their work habits and their behaviors to support the team. You understand? They begin to work together. They begin to work on their habits. You know, the project is supposed to start by 8 a.m. in the morning. Everybody must be there by 8 a.m. in the morning. So you begin to adjust. They begin to adjust their attitude towards the project, their commitment towards the project. Then when we talk about forming now, the team now has reached the performing stage now. They function as a well-organized unit now. You understand? It has reached the stage where they are performing as a well-organized unit now. You understand? And they can work in the various different teams together to achieve, they can work interdependently and work to achieve issues smoothly and effectively. And when you talk about adjourning now, the team completes the work and moves on from the project. Of course, this is where the work now gets completed. So now you see, these are the stages you're going to have. You're going to definitely have those stages when you're developing a team. Very important to consider them. All right. Now, and the tools and technique, we talked about collocation, which means you are placing team members or most of them in the same location. You understand? You're trying to place them in the same location. Now, it involves you are placing many or all of most of those team members now in the same physical location to enhance their ability to perform as a team. That's the reason why you're bringing them together, just to enhance their ability to perform as a team. That's most of the reason why you bring them together. So that's what we mean by collocation. Then we talk about interpersonal skills, of course. Interpersonal skills referred to as soft skills and are very critical for team development. It includes skills such as empathy, influence, creativity, group facilitation, These are the valuable assets when you are managing a project team, of course. And under these interpersonal skills and team skills, you're going to be considering conflict management because, of course, along the line, you have some people having some of the staffs having conflicts. So you have to consider conflict management, influencing as a skill, trying to influence your staff to carry out their jobs. You have to, in a way, influence them. And we know that influence is one of a very powerful virtue to have. You're able to influence someone. It's influence. You understand? When you see somebody able to gather a lot of people together to achieve a task, and you see somebody able to gather a lot of people together, it's influence. You know, using the power of influence and so many other things. Then we're also going to consider motivation. We're going to consider negotiation, your motivational skills, your negotiation skills, your team building skills, of course. You have to consider it. Now, when we talk about conflict management, of course, the project manager needs to resolve conflicts in timely manner, because if you don't resolve those conflicts in a timely manner, you have a schedule to work with. So if you don't resolve your conflicts, you have some set of people, some set of staffs, some set of team members who are not performing in some certain tasks. So they're going to give give you a delay in those tasks. Those various work packages that needed to be done will be delayed, and it's going to affect your project, the overall project. So you have to ensure that you resolve every conflict within your team members timely and in a constructive way in order to achieve high performance team. You have to do it in a constructive way. All right. Then when we talk about influencing, is used now. Influencing is used in process of gathering relevant and critical information to address an important issue. You understand? You are gathering the relevant information and every critical information to address an important issue, to reach agreements while maintaining mutual trust. You understand? Because you must build mutual trust between your team, and you must have the required information to address issues within your team. You understand? You must be able to influence your team members as a project manager to be able to carry out those tasks successfully, to be able to carry out those tasks without complaining, without having excuses. You have to be able to use those skills. Then we talk about motivation. Motivation is providing a reason for someone to act. You are motivating someone. Now, the common ways you see that we motivate people is maybe is a increase, salary increase, some bonuses. You understand? It's a way of motivation, motivating your staffs. And when they receive those bonuses and they are able to sort out their personal issues, you discover that you have a highly motivated staff who is able to carry out his job successfully and perfectly well. Then you talk about negotiation also is used to reach consensus on project needs. You understand? You have to be able to negotiate. Whether you like it or not, everybody has an idea. Everybody has an idea in his own area of knowledge, his own specialty. So everybody is bringing their ideas. Everybody wants his idea to be the idea that is being worked on. You understand? So you must be able to negotiate. Okay, this idea is good, but we need this idea also. You must be able to merge all those ideas together to achieve a goal. Because if you are not able to negotiate effectively, you have some people who feel like, just as we say, some people will feel like they're not making a difference in the project and their ideas are not relevant in the project. So why should they be in the project? You understand? So you have to be able to negotiate. And of course, team building, you have to be able to build your team. You have to conduct activities to enhance your team social skills and to enhance their productivity also. You have to be able to build those skills also. You have to build a cooperative working environment. That environment they need to work effectively. You have to provide it also. So that's what we need now when we talk about those tools and techniques. And of course, recognition and rewards. Um, the original plan for rewarding people was developed during the plan resource management. Of course, you have already developed the plan. So now you have to carry out those plans. Reward will be effective only if they satisfy the needs that is valued by the individual. People are motivated when they feel that they are valued in the organization. And this value is demonstrated by the rewards given to them. You understand? So when you give rewards, you give recognition like, oh, well done, you have done well in this project, or you give a promotion. It's a reward. Of course, when you promote someone, his salary will increase. When you give bonuses, of course, you are motivating that team member also. Then, of course, training to help to enhance the competence of your team members. You can go for further training, and your training can be either formal or informal. It can be within the organization or outside the organization, external means. All right, that's for developing. Now, of course, developing, we're going to consider some of those theories we talked about initially. The Abrams-Maslow hierarchy of needs, 1954. Now, what it means is that if you look at this triangle, the top is the apex of all of everything. So what it means is that people, the staff, the team members you're going to employ, the resources you're going to get, the resources you're going to be developing, the team you're going to be developing, they're going to have needs. And of course, you agree with me that everybody has physiological needs. And those physiological needs includes everybody needs air to breathe, everyone needs water, food, housing, clothing. Everybody needs safety. Safety, you talk about job security, of course. You have stability in the job, freedom from threat and physical harm. Some staff they don't like bosses that are shouty, that are they want to shout on them, they want to impose their authority on them. You have those set of staffs that don't want that. Of course, you have people have social needs also. Of course, people need love, affection, approval, friendship, association. You understand? Then you have people who have extreme needs, a sense of accomplishment, respect. People like respect, attention. Some people don't like to be shouted at. They just want you to just give them the instruction, they will do it. As far as you respect them, and not minding at the level they are in the project, not minding even if they are craftsmen, just give them their respect and give them the instruction, they will do it. They don't need you to be shouting on them to perform their tasks. You understand? Then you have the apex of it, self-fulfillment, goal and learning. That's everybody desires self-fulfillment. If I'm participating in this project, I should be fulfilled that, yeah, this project has brought satisfaction to me. I'm growing in this project. I'm learning something new in this project. People, you have those set of people. You see that self-actualization is actually at the apex. So you consider all this. This will help you when you're considering emotional intelligence of your team. You understand? You understand the team member very well. When you consider all this, you'll be able to understand your team members and you'll be able to develop them effectively. Then, of course, you have the X theory, the McGregor's X theory and Y theory. The X theory and Y theory, sorry. The McGregor's X theory and white theory. Now, the X theory, it assumes that you have employees that are incapable, that will avoid responsibility and work. You have some employees, they are your employees, all right. You have employed them to carry out the tasks in the project, but they don't want to work. They are lazy. You understand? You have those set of people. You have those people. They are just lazy, and you need to supervise them. If you don't supervise them, they will not get those tasks done. Now, those little tasks, those work packages that needed to be done, if you don't supervise those set of people, they will just mess up the whole thing. Your time schedule, you will not be able to meet up your timeline for the completion of the project. Then those set of people are the X theory. They dislike work, of course, avoid work whenever possible. They dodge from work. You have those set of people. You now, as you have to supervise them, and sometimes it's assumed that at this point when you have such people, sometimes you threaten them with punishment. You exercise your supervision authority, your authority over them to get work done. Now, well, these are the assumptions on the X theory. On the Y theory, you have those employees that are ready to work, they are willing to work even without supervision, and they want to achieve the task that is at hand. You have the workers that are willing to do the work without continuous supervision. They want to be active. They want to find the physical and mental effort to do the jobs satisfactorily. They produce results and are willing to participate. In the project. Then you have the greatest results, of course, coming from them. Then achieving high performance teams. Please just give me a minute, just a minute. Let's just take a minute to stretch off, just to stretch. And if there is an announcement, our coordinator will give us a little announcement. Just a minute to stretch. Actually, just 2 minutes. Let's just make it 2 minutes. 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please don't go.
All right, so well done, sir. So let's take the 2 minutes to stretch. Please, for the sake of ensuring that your certification is well displayed on LinkedIn, please ensure to follow us on LinkedIn. That will be able to help you get the certificate well flagged, and also will give you more visibility. So we are posting the link. We've posted the link before. In case you're not part of us on LinkedIn, please do so, and feel free to add us to your profile as part of the organization's professional networks that you are in affiliation with. Okay, someone is asking of attendance. Please, attendance is passed by the end of the class. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Let's give the facilitator and all of us just 2 minutes to stretch out, and then we will be back. Thank you so much. Please, if there are questions regarding to manuals and the like, please, if you want to pay for your manual, please, you can go ahead and do so. For associates, the fee for manual is 5,000 naira, and for lead, the fee for the manual is 10,000 naira. For the international participants, associate is $15 and lead is $25. So in case you wish to get material, please kindly use the information provided. The account number to pay into is 10-217-605, and that's a UBA account. For international students, please kindly pay online at paystack.com/pay/IPM. All right, please, if you're making payment this weekend, or if you're making payment over the weekend, please be reminded that all verifications will be done on Monday, and you'll get all your manuals on Monday. All right. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry for the little break. All right. Now, we continue achieving high performance teams. Now, high performance teams can be achieved by employing these behaviors. Now, you're going to be using your open and effective communication, very important. You must be able to use your communication skills to achieve your high performance team. Able to communicate with them using your interpersonal skills, of course, to ensure that everyone is complying with the scope and the guidelines for performing the project, to carry out the project. Then, of course, you will be creating your team building opportunities. Consider that you're developing trust among team members, managing conflict in a constructive manner, encouraging collaboration, problem solving, encouraging collaborative decision making. Very important you consider all those things. All right. So now going to the next. All right. Now you are developing those teams and now you're going to manage them. You have to be able to manage your team now. Now, to manage them is a process of tracking your team members' performance, providing feedbacks, and resolving issues, managing team changes to optimize project performance. Now, the key benefit of this process is that it influences the team behavior, manages the conflicts, and resolves issues. To resolve issues. Now, of course, you like I said, you sometimes some cases, especially where you have a large group of team members, you may have disagreements here and there. So you must be able to manage that team. You must be able to resolve conflicts within that team. And we're going to be looking at some general techniques of resolving those conflicts shortly. Now, managing teams, of course, we have the inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. Of course, your plan management plan, and so on. We have talked about most of all these topics. Then, of course, now the 5 ways we can resolve conflicts. Now we have conflicts. Now we have 5 ways. We can choose any of these ways to resolve those conflicts. Now, the first way is to withdraw or you avoid. A conflict has come up, then you now withdraw and avoid it. And you know the effect of when you withdraw and avoid, you don't resolve that conflict. Now, retreating from an actual and potential conflict situation, postponing the issue to a better prepared or to be resolved by others. Now, that is another, that's an approach that someone may want to use. Okay, let's avoid these issues. Yeah, we have personal issues. Let's avoid those issues for now. I will resolve these issues later. That is, you may choose to resolve it that way, which may not really be advisable. Then you have the smooth or accommodating. Now, it has to do with you are emphasizing on the areas of agreement rather than the areas of differences. Now, you say, okay, yeah, we have disagreement, but let's emphasize on the areas of agreement. Let's emphasize on this particular, this without solving the conflict. Now, considering one's position to the needs of others to maintain harmony and relationship. Now, some project managers may employ this method. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Sorry, please, just a minute, I'll be right back. Just a minute, I'll be right back. Just a minute, please, I'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere, I'll be right back, just a minute. Sorry for the short breaks. Please, I'll be right back, just a minute. While I'm getting set to be back, please, I hope we are getting what the lecture, I hope we're enjoying the lecture. Please, if you are enjoying the lecture, just type 11 in the chat room. I need to know your responses. I'm sure I'm passing the message across. All right. All right. All right, that's a good one. Yes, I'm so glad you're enjoying the lecture. soon be back in a jiffy. Just all right, just a minute, please. Sorry, just a minute, please. Just a minute. I'll be right back with us, please. Just a minute. Please, apologies, please. Just a minute. I'll be with us. Sorry, please. Like my system has gone out of the. Dr. Banitos, are you around?
Yes, I am.
Please enable me to share my screen, please.
All right.
My system went out. Okay. 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 Thank you very much. All right. Please, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, just type yes in the chat room. If you can see my screen, please. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Let me just maximize this. Sorry, please, for this delay. Sorry for this delay. Oh. All right, now we're going to continue from where we stopped. Now we talked about managing, of course. I think this is where we stopped. Yeah. So we were talking about resolving the conflict. We talk about withdraw and avoid as a means of resolving the conflict. Talking about smooth and accommodate, that you're emphasizing on the area of agreement rather than the area of disagreement. Then you're considering this method also compromise and reconcile, that's searching for solutions that will bring some degree of satisfaction to all parties in order to temporarily or partially resolve the conflict. Now, this approach is occasionally results in the loss situation. You understand? Now, if you are using this approach of compromising, and then you reconcile, then that means you are searching for solutions to give some degree of satisfaction. You are resolving the issue partially, not really permanently. So even if you resolve the issue partially, it will still come up and it still affect the throughput of the output of the project. Now, you may be considering using force, using direct force. You're pushing someone's viewpoint to the expense of others. Now, you're offering only win-loss. You are only offering a win-loss situation. Maybe you have somebody who is maybe it's your friend in the project, and you want to emphasize on his own ideas, neglecting other ideas from others. Of course, it will be a win-lose situation in that aspect. Then, if you may want to consider a collaborative a problem-solving method. Now, you incorporate multiple views, insights from different perspectives, require a cooperative attitude, an open dialogue that typically leads to consensus and commitment. Now, this approach can result in a win-win situation. Now, we have looked at all these approaches. Which approaches do you think do you need to use? Or do you at some point need to use some certain approach before you use some? You understand? So I think I'm asking the house of that. Do you need to use some certain approaches at some point of the project, or which approach is most suitable if you're actualizing your project? Please just give me some few answers. I need some few answers quickly. We don't have much time. My time is running. From the methods that we have looked at, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me, please? Please, you can hear me, type 1 on the chat room. Okay. Okay, collaborative and problem solving. Okay. All right. Now let's move on because we don't have much time. Let's move on. Then now you have developed your team, you are managing your team. Now you have to control the resources. Now, the reason why you have to control the resources is so that you minimize waste. If you don't control your resources, you have a lot of waste, most when it has to do with your physical resources, the materials. What has to do with the materials, has to do with the tools, do with the equipment. If you don't control how those tools and equipments are used, how those materials are used, you have a situation where those materials you bought for the project are inadequate. How come are they inadequate? Because of waste. A quantity of material that's supposed to be used and somebody overused the quantity, or you have limited materials to carry out the project. You're not able to get enough materials. You have to be able to control your resources so that you actualize your project at your due time. All right. Now, control resources is the process of ensuring that your physical resources assigned and allocated to the project are available as planned, as well as monitoring the planned versus actual utilization of resources and taking corrective action. Of course, you planned that you're going to use certain number of resources, you understand? But along the line, you discover that plan, you have to update that plan because the resources you planned to use, you have overused them or you have underused them. So you have to, consider actions, of course. I hope you understand that. So now the key benefit of this process is ensuring that the assigned resources is available for the project at the right time and in the right place and are released when no longer needed. You understand? Now, those resources should be available at the right time. Very important. If you don't provide those resources at the right time, it's going to affect your schedule. It's going to affect the timeline for the completion of your project. So you must be able to have those resources at the right time and at the right place. All right. So our control resources, of course, you have the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs, project management plan, of course, you discover that you always have to look at your project management plan, your resource management plan, you have to look at it. You have to look at your scope. Also, you have to look at your resource breakdown structure. Also, we have talked about resource breakdown structure. We have to look at your work performance data, look at your organizational, your agreements and what have you. You see that how all those things are interwoven together. You have them in almost all the knowledge areas. Then, of course, tools and techniques. Of course, your tools and techniques, alternatives, analysis. You understand? Then you have your alternative analysis, cost benefit analysis, performance reviews, trend analysis. You have to consider all those things when you are controlling the resources. You see that cost is also coming into play here. So that you, because those materials you bought them at a cost, so you have to consider you look at what are the materials I need, what are the tools and the tools I need and the machineries I need. What would they cost and how am I going to get adequate number of them at the right time? We understand that. Then of course, your interpersonal and team skills, we have talked about that. We have talked about negotiating and influencing and all that. The output, you should be able to have a work performance information from your team. Now, you should be able to have work performance information because you're already working. You should be able to check their performance. Then if you have a change request, you want to update the scope, somewhat there's an addition to the project, consider that also. Project management plans and updates, the project documents updates and all that. We have looked at most of them. Then when we say control resource, now, when we say control resources, is concerned with, of course, monitoring the resource expenditure, of course. You see that cost is also coming in here. Then identifying and dealing with resource shortage and surpluses. I talked about that just a few minutes ago, that in a timely manner. Then ensuring that resources are used, ensuring the resources are used and released according to plan and project needs. You understand? Those resources must be released according to the plan and project needs. Now, informing the appropriate stakeholders if any issues arise with relevant resources. You understand? So you're able to inform them if there's any need. If there's any need, you need to inform them for some certain resources that are needed. Then influencing the factors that can create resource utilization change and managing the actual change that occurs. You should be able to manage any changes that occur along the line in the project. And when you are managing the resources, like those shortages and surpluses, able to manage them. So now the tools and techniques of control resource, of course, we have data analysis, alternative analysis. What can we say? It says it can be analyzed, can be analyzed to select the best resolution of correcting variances of resource utilization. You know, where you have you correcting how resources are being used in a project. Then cost benefit, of course, you are trying to determine the best corrective actions in terms of cost. In case of project deviations, where you are trying to deviate from a project, you have to, maybe you're having a change request now. You have to now consider the cost. You have to, try and manage the cost and the resources also to actualize that change. Then performance review, you measure, compare, analyze planned resources utilization to acquire the resource utilization. Now the trend analysis. Then of course, your problem solving skills also comes to play, your interpersonal skills, soft skills comes to play, and information management systems. We talk about information management system. Now the information management system is actually a software, actually. Is one or more software tools you use for a project information storage and distribution. You have that software, you'll be able to do your scheduling, your estimating, identify and table out your resources, record your human resource, physical resources, your physical documents, data, you also have it. The software will be able to carry out all those functions, portals, dashboards, collaboration work management tools, social media, project control. These are just features that you're going to have in that project management information system software. So those are softwares that enable you to carry out all these tasks. You have recorded tasks and all that. Then we have come to the end of today's lecture, but I'm going to be asking some little questions to see if we really understood some of the things we just talked about. Now, the major processes of project resource management are? We have A, leadership management, team building, negotiation. We have B, develop project staffing plan, recruit project team, administer personnel action, manage labor reactions. We have C, plan organizational structure, build project plan, develop communication plan, manage team conflicts. Then we have D, plan resource management, estimate activity resource, acquire resource, develop team, manage team, control team. So which is the answer? I need answer from us. Is it A, B, C, or D? I need the answer. All right. Everybody is saying D. Yes, we are correct. D is we started with, you're going to start with what? You are planning the resource management. You're going to estimate the resource activity. You're going to acquire the resources. You're going to develop the team, manage the team, and you control the resources. Yes, we are all correct. Yeah, you can clap for yourself. All right. Now, the next question, we have team development stages include, we have A, starting, organizing, preparing, executing, closing. We have B, forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. We have C, acquiring, managing, leading, decision-making, releasing. We have D, initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and control, and closing. What is the answer for this question? I need your answers. Is it A, B, C, or D? I need answers. All right, so I'm seeing B. I'm seeing B. Any other answer? Okay, B. I see. So that means we are following. That's good. So let's go to the next. All right, now you are a project manager managing a resource who has been an outstanding performer in the past. Now, on your project, she has repeatedly missed deadlines. Now, why did she miss deadline? You discover that she's going through a difficult divorce, and according to Moscow's theory, which of the following needs is the most likely not being met for this resource? So, which of them is not being met? A, B, C, or D? I need to get your answers now. I'm seeing B here. I'm seeing B. All right. The answer is actually C. It's not B. B, if you remember when we looked at that law, you have social needs. It's actually a social need. Your physiological needs is you need air, you need the basic needs you need, human needs. It's actually a social need. So D is the answer. So I appreciate every one of us. Okay, we just have, I think this is the last one. That the project manager is trying to settle a dispute between two subject matter experts. Now, a project manager is trying to settle a dispute between two subject matter experts who are team members on their project. That's, you're having two professionals in a particular team on that project. Now, one says that the system should be integrated before testing, and the other maintains that each system should be tested before integration. Now, the project involves more than 50 people, and 15 different systems must be integrated. You understand? And the sponsor is demanding that the project be completed on time. What is the best statement the project manager can make to resolve this conflict? One person is saying, let's test, let's integrate before testing. Another person is saying, one person is saying we should integrate before testing. The other is saying that we should test before integration. So what are you going to do as a project manager? What? Okay, I'm saying D. Any other contrary answer? Okay. All right, yes, we are very correct. We are going to in order not to cause conflict, in order not to have a serious conflict, to resolve this conflict now, we're going to use the D approach here. So we say, okay, let's do limited testing before integration. Then when we finish, we can now do the full testing and all that. So thank you very much for listening and being attentive. I hope we have gained a lot from this project resource management knowledge area. And I will hand over to my coordinator now, Dr. Eburiche Banito, to go ahead with us. Thank you very much for listening. Doctor, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, engineer. Really appreciate this wonderful time.
Thank you, sir.
Your lecture is always wonderful and it's always a good time out with you. Thank you so much. So please, can we please say thank you to Engineer Thompson before we take questions? Can we please in the chat room, let's show him some appreciation. Thank you, Engineer Thompson, the chat room. All right, thank you so much. Should you wish to connect with Engineer Thompson, please, you can find him on LinkedIn as Abraham Thompson, and you can find him on Facebook as Abraham Thompson. In fact, just find him anywhere as Abraham Thompson and you can connect with him. He has been doing quite a lot of work, both with the on consulting basis at private and federal levels. So if you wish to connect with him, or if you wish to have some consulting advisory from him, please feel free to network with him. You found the areas of his expertise: electrical engineering, computer networks, data management, cloud computing, and all of that, live sound management, and then I think that's information technology or the whole. So if you wish to communicate or connect with him on such basis, please feel free to network with him. Thank you so much once again, engineer, for this awesome time. Okay, so could there be any question for engineer? Please, if there are questions, if there are comments, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll take those things now. Our last class for today will be by 6 o'clock. So let's take the questions and then we can take some rest before 6 o'clock. Please, any question, any comment? He dealt with project resource management. Can we get the slide for presentation? Obviously, you will get all the slides. So anyone that is not in your manual, please kindly request for it. You will get all of them. Okay. Okay. So can we get questions? Can we get any question? Okay. If there are no questions, please endeavor to join us on LinkedIn. That will help to improve your professional visibility and also show your networks what you're doing. So please feel free to join us on LinkedIn and do it just right away. Okay, so if there are no questions, we will take some minutes of break and then we'll come back by 6 p.m. Okay, but please, before we go, can we quickly take the attendance? Then we return by 6 o'clock for the final lecture for today. Please, we are taking time to drill those of us in project management as compared to other people, because project management is so organized that you don't have to take it haphazardly. And we must take all the rigorous steps to make sure we get things done. All right. So please bear with us. Okay, so I've passed the attendance link in the chat room. Please kindly ensure to take your attendance. If you take your attendance, please, you can go have your rest. We'll be reconvening by 6 o'clock. Although we are going to keep the class open in case you want to preserve your data, you can go and come back by 6 o'clock. But the class is going to be open. By 6 o'clock, we'll be looking at communication management, and that will be taken by one of our very best. So please stay on ground as to get the best in this period. Thank you so much. Please, if there are questions or cases, kindly state them in the chat room. We are not closing the room, so the room is open